Hi, I'm Jeff Goulding and I'm a Liverpool author.
And I'm Kieran Smith, the Liverpool historian.
Together, we've been working on a great new project, which is a book out later this year entitled The Untouchables, Anfield's Band of Brothers.
It's a great story about one of the greatest sides in Liverpool's history who won back-to-back titles in the 1920s.
Yeah, this is a team that is absolutely packed with incredible characters. Men who fought on the battlefields of Europe in the First World War and returned home to claim 2 league titles in a row.
And it's due for release in the UK in September. And thanks to our friendship now with the Liverpool Connection podcast, it's also going to be made available through them in the United States at the same time.
Hello and welcome to the Liverpool Connection podcast. I'm Daz. Steve's with me, and our special guest today is a massive Liverpool fan, is Mike Kearney, all the way from Liverpool. Hiya, Mike.
Hi, mate. Thanks for having us on.
You're welcome. Glad that finally come on. Been going back and forth for a few months.
Yeah. It's just glad we found everything's worked out and we can get on and have a chat and hopefully cheer ourselves up after what we've just watched the day we record.
Yeah, I try not go on Twitter too much, just especially after matches, just because the keyboard warriors are out for blood.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? I mean, it's very we're in the middle of a. Even without the pandemic, football's like that. Football Twitter's been like that for a while, hasn't it? Where it's been sort of reaction, just straight knee-jerk in a way, I suppose, where, you're saying things really that you probably wouldn't say half an hour later, an hour later. So
yeah,
I've been doing the same quite a bit this season, just, say it for what I see it and sort of walk away and digest the season. And, it is what it is. I'm sure we will turn it around at some point, but
that's the thing, you'll say something and then you come back and reread, what you put, and you go, "Oh God, maybe I shouldn't have said that."
I know, yeah. It's not long for the immediate post-match depth analysis, is it? So
yeah, that's what we try not to do on this show, is really talk about the game, because a lot of podcasts, that's what they do after the game, and everyone has their own opinion. This one is more of a storytelling one. So let's get into the story. When did you become a Liverpool fan?
Since I was born, to be fair, I was born into a family with lots of reds and blues, as is quite common in Liverpool, the city, as you know. And yeah, all my cousins are reds. My mum is a blue.
Oh,
my dad really wasn't a football. My dad really wasn't that into footy. His dad was a blue. My granddad was a blue. So there was to and fro and going on really of who's he going to support and this, that, and the other. And there was several stakes trying to make claims, but Liverpool were always the one for me. As all I remember growing up as a kid is wanting to know, like, my cousins were Liverpool fans, all my mates were Liverpool fans, that I wanted to be with them, and was always just, I couldn't wait to grow up and be a part of this thing that I was always obsessed with.
So is your mum kind of giving you those slide looks now?
No, not really. To be fair, she's great. My mum, to be fair, she's a blue, but I think that was mainly via osmosis to her dad and that. But yeah, I mean, the way it's worked out, I don't think she's that bothered really. But yeah, she likes to have a laugh, especially now when they have a good result, which is hasn't been a long while, has it? But
yeah,
unfortunately, this season turns out to be one where she could have a laugh at me for a change.
Hopefully, she won't be laughing at the end of the season.
No, I mean, that would be nice, wouldn't it, for them to have a win at Anfield and still not make top 4? But no.
Only one with no fans, so it's great.
I know, yeah. To be fair, I've got quite a few blue mates who said they weren't bothered. They're just happy that they've seen it. So I suppose you've got to say, take it out to them and say fair play. Because I mean, on the balance of it, they deserved it on the day, didn't they? So I mean, we've had plenty of chances, haven't we, in the past to rub their noses in it. So you'll take your medicine with that one.
And the second part of the question is, when was your first Anfield match?
I went to my first Anfield match in 2002 or 3, I think. It was an FA Cup 4th round, I think, against Portsmouth years ago. It was 1-1. To be honest, I'd wanted to go for ages. It was after the treble season. The treble season, I was 2000 2001, wasn't it? So I was 9, and I was all the kits and stuff like that. I suppose that's where it really ramped up for me. That treble season is where I was, even though I was 9, I was stupidly into football. I was sticker collecting, doing all the usual things that you do when you grow up, and I was just obsessed. So from then on, I was badgering my parents. I need to go to the game. I need to go to the game. I want to go to the game. I want to go to the game. And it was so poor. It just came. It turns up that we could. I mean, there were 4 tickets that we got for the Portsmouth game that day, all on the same row. And it was me, my cousin Steve, who was a massive part of my football supporting life now, as most people might know if they've ever seen things going on. But we'll touch on that in a bit. His big brother was there as well, and my mum, who was a blue, because she was the only one that could go on the day. So she had to. She threatened to take her knitting, but she didn't. She sat there and chaperoned us 3. So I was 9. My other cousins, Steve and his brother Jay, would have been 10 and 13 and 14. So we were we were all just made up to be there. Finished 1-1, sadly. But the first goal scorer was Michael Owen. And I was, as a kid at that age, I was obsessed with, obviously how he was the main man, weren't he? We had, we were spoiled for strikers really back in the day. But yeah, Owen, Gerrard, was just, everyone talks about it. And I've got sight issues and that, but my eyesight was a lot better when I was younger. So all the old adages of walking into your first game, seeing the pitch, how big it is, how green it is, all the colour and all the smells. It's I'll never forget it, even though it was a disappointing 1-1 draw. When you look back at it, we had to go to a replay and beat them. But yeah, that was my first ever game really, and that was it. I just wanted to go as much as I could from there on.
Are you a season ticket holder now?
I'm on I'm about 12th or 13th on the waiting list apparently. So I'll be there soon enough. But I've been a member for ages now. I'm basically a season. I'm all but a season ticket holder in name at the minute. The way the member sale works. So I won't. Hopefully, when we come out of this pandemic and things get moving again, I'll be a season ticket holder in name, as well as being able to go to all the games that I do anyway. I'm lucky enough to go to.
Nice one, Steve.
Hey, Mike. Good morning or afternoon.
Hey, mate.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show. We've been following your story here for a couple of years, and just want to kind of take it back a little bit to kind of give some context to your story. You really came to the forefront of a lot of Liverpool's fans to win back in 2018 when you were caught on camera, you and your cousin Stephen, at the match versus Napoli. Can you kind of take us back to that day, what your feelings were? Because obviously we had to win that game, Allison making a couple of great saves at the end, but just take us back to that day and how your life has changed from that point on.
Yeah, it seems strange to think about it now, but yeah, it's played a big role in what's gone on to happen for me after that. And to be honest, it wasn't out of the ordinary really. Be normal match day routine. It was Champions League, so late kick off, a couple of pints in the pub before and after. Just a really nice build up, and it was one of them where we sort of for a couple of seasons, I think we sort of made the Champions League group stage a bit harder than what we should have made it really, or we could have done. So we were into that game needing to win, and it was just it felt like a big European night, to be honest. I've been lucky to experience plenty of them over the years, but it felt like a strange time to have a big European night, because we're normally used to going deep in competitions, but December, so it was colder. We were just up for the game, really wanting to. It was a good atmosphere. I remember at the half time, the cameraman who videoed me and my cousin Steve at the time and got the original footage on Twitter after the game. He was working for Univision Deportes over in the US, I think it is at the minute. He lives in Miami. His name's Tony Churchy, and he come up to us at half time, and he was saying, do you mind doing a little bit of an interview talking about what You'll Never Walk Alone means and stuff. And at the time it was just half time. We were like, no, that's a bit weird. I wonder why they've picked us out. We didn't know, really, because we didn't know we'd been filmed after the goal celebration, so we just sort of said, oh no, sorry mate, we're going for a pint. So we were like had a pint on the concourse and stuff like that, and come out, watch the second half. As you mentioned, Alisson makes a few big saves, and luckily and thankfully, really, we qualified, don't we, and go on to have an amazing run in the Champions League that season. But as far as that video goes, I wasn't aware of it until about dinner time the next day, and then the snowball effect really went downhill. My phone went mad, and that's where the whole thing started, really, in terms of that video leading on to the other ones, and ultimately going to meet the squad, Mo Salah. It was surreal.
When you watch that video and then you have your cousin Steve is explaining what's happening on the pitch. You had mentioned earlier that your vision, the loss of your vision, has been kind of a progressive thing over the years, right? So
yeah.
Obviously it changes your game day experience, but do you feel that there's a different connection with the game now that you're really hearing the game versus watching it?
To be honest, I still cling on to the bits that I can see. So it sort of is the same in some respects, where I sit in the Kop, so obviously the closer things are to the Kop end goal, the better for me. Okay. But regardless of that, my cousin will still explain and stuff like that. And the Salah goal versus Napoli was down the Anfield Road then, so before the camera pans to us, we'd obviously been celebrating and jumping about like lunatics for a couple of seconds, as you do when you score a goal or a goal scored. So when we sort of settled back down, I'd asked him, who was it? Because I didn't know if it was Salah. I sort of knew it was from that side of the pitch. I wouldn't have been able to tell you who it was. I didn't know if it was someone, Salah passed to someone else. So yeah, it's look, obviously it's changed. I've always had a sight problem, so I'm used to, really. It's my normal. Not being able to see 20/20 vision has been my normal for 28 years now, and it's my normal. But it's even that within my time, it has changed, and it's got more blurry. And I've had to use. I used to use a radio commentary. Well, we were in the ground years ago. I remember the day that changed my mind on that, though, was it used to be the hospital radio commentators that used to do the game, and there was no delay. But there was a delay. And do you remember the day Torres scores the volley against Blackburn, which is a world-class goal? At the time, I was listening to the commentary, but my eyes were watching something else, and it was like a second or two delay. And I was like, nah. But then straight after the goal, my cousin explained it all, and like we were celebrating and stuff like that. And I just thought, that's better. That's some people, that's better for me. So that day on the radio was ditched, and here we are. 13 years later, from the 2008-9 season that was. Everything's moved on. My sight got gradually worse from that point onwards, really. But I've never really let it stop me going the game or stop me being interested in the game. I still see what I can, but what I can't, I never miss out on, because I've got a great bond there with my cousin. and my other friends and that who would go. So, you know, I suppose it is different in ways to what it was before that, but it's not decreased my enjoyment out of it in any way, shape, or form.
Hey, tell us about your experience meeting Mo Salah, because obviously, you know, most of us were only seeing a little bit of it, the few interviews that he gives, and some of the snippets that LFC TV, you know, puts out other players. But you were able to have a conversation with him. Can you kind of walk us through that experience with Mo Salah?
Yeah, do you know, the whole thing come about with obviously that video originally going berserk on Twitter and on Facebook and stuff, and the views that it had was phenomenal. Like we were just laughing, saying, "Oh, look, like there was so many nice comments and so many views, and you know, we were just over the moon. Like, oh, that's good, isn't it? Like that's the sort of thing we took into it, and all the way through that week, we were sort of thinking, I wonder if anything else will come with this, because it was going, like, the numbers were huge. There's millions of people seeing it and stuff. But as it went on, we sort of were thinking, oh, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But anyway, the end of that week was the Friday. I get a phone call from Tony Barrett, supporter liaison officer at the club. And I recognised his voice straight away, to be fair, because, you know, I'd heard him on other podcasts and stuff like that in the past. So I knew something was afoot. I knew something was going on. So, like, he said, I'm ringing on behalf of Mo. He wants to invite you up to Melwood. You know, can you come in next Tuesday? So I was like, of course I can, obviously. I can't wait. But like at that point, I had to keep it quiet. So it was just me and my cousin that knew about it. So my family members, and we were going into the game against Man United that weekend. And we win 3-1. But I was thinking to myself while we're watching the game, I hope Mo doesn't go down with a hamstring or an injury, or, you know, if we'd have lost, it would have been like I'd have still been made up and that. But I wanted the players to be in, you know, a good mood. That December, actually, we win every game, including the Napoli League Champions League game. You know, we win every game, really. So there's nothing to worry about when you think about it. But we were in the ground on the Sunday, watching the Man United game, knowing that we were going to meet these players on the following Tuesday, and just kept looking at each other and saying, "This is mad. It's a good feeling." And we were sort of just really anticipating going. And we get to the Tuesday, and we're going into Melwood, and I'm still thinking someone's gonna stop the ride somewhere and say, "No, it's a prank. You ain't going." But anyway, we get to go in, and it's a bit of a wait because he was filming something else on the same day with a couple of other players in a school, because it was December, so it was obviously, you know, getting toward near Christmas, so they were doing other things. So we were just sitting there, minding our own business in Melwood, and we were like, the anticipation was building. So we were thinking, we didn't really know what this was about or what was going to happen or what have you. But anyway, we got 2 microphones put on us, and just said, look, when you know, when the time comes, you just go and enjoy yourself. We'll film it and we'll record it, obviously, but, you know, this is your time to go and meet Salah and, you know, meet the players and stuff. So he comes out with the 2 shirts, as you see on the video, and he's a lovely fella, to be fair. Like, I'm fairly biased because he's done something outrageously generous towards me and my cousin. But like, he's just a nice, down to earth fella. And yeah, these people are normal. That's what you sort of forget. Not on purpose, maybe at times, but these are normal people, you know. And he's a similar sort of height to me and my cousin. So, like, you know, when you're a kid and you think footballers are these, like, really tall fellas, strong fellas. I mean, Van Dijk is, and there's a couple of them that are, but it's just like a bit of he's a normal fella like me, to be honest. And, you know, if things might have been different in my life where I was fully sighted, you know, who knows? I could have been him and he could have been me, sort of thing. But yeah, you know, like, you can't emphasise enough that they're just normal people who've got feelings like us, and what was said to me was, you know, I'll never forget the day that we had and the way everyone was with us. But like on the flip side, that what Tony Barrett was saying to us was, you know, as much as this is good for us, you gotta, you know, the players will take a positive out of this. You know, in a weird way, you know, unity is strength is a big thing of Liverpool as a city, but you know, it's physical evidence that we got to see that day of, you know, just us two normal lads being there, but the players genuinely being happy to meet us and spend time with us. And I'll never forget it.
You know, it's one of the things that I think we forget about this whole pandemic situation. Obviously, the fans aren't allowed in the fields, but this team is really identified with a lot of community service. And I know that they haven't been able to do a lot of the things that they normally would into the community at Liverpool, you know, not being able to be around other fans, you know, different maybe compromised population, you know, the sick kids and things like that they're always trying to help. So yeah, that, you know, we tend to forget that they are human outside of the pitch and that they're trying to give back to the community as much as possible. So I'm sure they really miss that. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, in my opinion, it affects their performances on the pitch too, just that they don't have that other outlet, you know, in the community. But I had a question. So in your opinion, is Salah going to be here next season, or do you think he's going to be moving on? What's your personal take on that?
See, he's done an interview, didn't he, a couple of months back, and this is before we won the league. Even he's happy in Liverpool. You know, he's never really agitated for a move away. And look, people will. The situation as it is now, you know, he's got a couple of years left on his contract. People will start looking at that now, and the media will do what the media always does in terms of reading body language and you know, looking into stories that maybe aren't there. The man's happy at Liverpool, is what, you know, from his own mouth. He said he's happy at Liverpool. You know, he's top scorer again for us this season. He's a ridiculously talented footballer. Very humble man who, you know, who's motivated mainly by sport and achievement, I'd say. And, you know, he's won the league with us. He's won the Champions League with us. You know, that's come from you know, from us losing the Champions League to then going on the season after and winning, and then doing the same again by missing out on the league by a point and going on and doing it again. You know, and this season, you know, hasn't turned out great, but I think he will stay. I think he'll be more motivated more than ever to come back next year and to, you know, all things being equal, into a stadium with fans in. And, you know, I think he'll want to go again and win the league again with us, because he knows how big this club is. You know, he was on the bus with all the other players when they toured the medals and the Champions League trophy rounds. You know, denied the chance to do that with the Premier League. So I think that'll be a motivating factor again. Not just for him, but for everyone else in the squad, by the way. But yeah, I mean, there'll always be chat, you know, about these players who are really, really world class. You know, you'll probably see a bit about Mane as well. In fact, I have seen a bit PSG, you know, paper talk. But I mean, these are the players. Salah, Mane. I think they'll stay. Yeah, I mean, Klopp said the other day, we don't sign players. You know, he mentioned about the Champions League thing, didn't he? If they don't want to play for us when we're not playing Champions League, then I don't want them. And I think it's not just the mentality of these players, but it's the character of them. They all seem to be, you know, genuinely nice lads. So, you know, and we've got a situation with Gini Wijnaldum this summer, haven't we? I know he's not a part of the question at the minute, but he looks like he will move on. I think he will move on with the blessing of all the fans and, you know, and all of his teammates and his manager for always giving us all for the club, being a part of the team that, as I say, one of the two biggest trophies you can win, making history with winning the Club World Cup. You know, the first ever Liverpool team to do so. So, if and when he does come on to move in the future, Mo Salah, I think he will go with the blessings. But for now, there's definitely more business. I think he will see business to be done and not finish business at Anfield.
Yeah, this summer the transfer business will definitely be interesting. So I think you're right. A lot of the players, I think they just want to get through this season, make a run in the Champions League, and then come back when the stadium is full and get back to the fans, you know. So my last question for right now is, we have a lot of listeners and viewers from around the world, you know, that will never get to Liverpool. So my question, kind of tongue in cheek, is your accent more representative of Boodle or is Jamie Carragher's?
I don't know, because to be honest, I don't really listen back to my own voice now that much. But I would say, from what I've been told by people, it's they say I've sort of always had a fairly Scouse accent, but I don't know. Carragher's is a bit more high pitched than mine. I'd say.
Yeah, he is.
But it's all, you know, all sorts of accents around Liverpool, isn't it? It's my favourite accents, for not just because it's my own, but you know, I just love the city and love the accent, and
I'm just taking the piss because I love the Scouse accent, you know, and it took me about half a day to realize what anybody was saying every time I go visit. But yeah, by the end of the time, you know, I know where the pub is. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, if you drink enough beers, Steve, you'll start sounding Scouse as well.
Well, what was bad is my group had a lot of Irishmen too, so I was like kind of conflicted. I don't know what, you know, who should I sound like by the end of the trip, an Irishman or a Scouse?
Yeah, that's the thing with me. I have a hard trouble like understanding some Irish people.
Yeah,
as well. It's just especially when they drink. I'm like, it's like gobbledygook. I didn't think I'd ever use that phrase either. Gobbledygook. Jesus. Nice. You know how old I am now.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I always, you know, you go out to Liverpool, really, people do say they do struggle with your accent and stuff like that. And it's sort of sympathise with some. I've never really struggled to listen to other accents, but I think it's maybe because, you know, I'm used to speaking in my own and listening to my own. I've never really struggled to hear anyone. I always used to find that, you know, when you go out to the city or listen to someone say to you, "What did you say? What did you say?" And you'd be like, "Oh, I am speaking English," you know. I mean,
yeah, it's like the first year I was over there. I had to repeat myself like at least 5 times, but it's gotten better because I talk slower now, so they'll understand me. But Mike, yeah. I wanted to ask you, like, what kind of doors has it opened for you? You know, kind of being in that video.
To be honest, a lot of people won't know at the time, but I was sort of struggling a bit with the confidence, and you know, I had my little family bubble, obviously, and a couple of friends and stuff like that. But it's personally, you know, I've took a lot out of it, and confidence was a big one for me, and I've sort of got back on an even keel with that since then. You know, to be thrust into the light, really, going from just being a normal lad who does everything to having everyone who sort of knows your face for a little while was quite strange. You know, there's lots of positives about that, and lots of people being nice about me and my cousin, but yeah, lots of confidence, and you know, it took me a while to build the confidence up again from there, but it made me really believe in myself again. And you know, I do I'm sure you've heard of them as well, the Anfield Wrap.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out, actually, funnily enough, and reached out and said that, you know, I'd like to come on if there's a chance from there, to say, getting a bit of confidence back, reaching out, and you know, they've been nothing but great to me, to be fair, really, really good. I met them, it was December, so I met a lot of them around the Christmas games and in the pub and stuff, and yeah, I've started doing, I host my own podcast on there now as well, which is crazy to think where it was to where I am now. You know, and lots of friends from it and stuff. Lots of really good friends who, you know, have been really good to me since then. So, to be honest, if you'd have said to me the day of the game, when I didn't know it was videoed, that I would be interviewing John Achterberg, you know, Thomas Gronemark, people who are in and around Liverpool Football Club on my own podcast in a couple of years' time, I'd have been like, oh yeah, as if. But yeah, I say it's sort of personally given me a lot more confidence, and you know, I say Liverpool have not been short of giving me really good memories along the way. You know, I say all the nights out and the winning that we've been doing, and the you know, the trophies. So yeah, I mean, that video went massive, and you know, I'm sort of really grateful, and I don't think anyone would at the club would have known how much it has done for me since then, but it's been massive.
You know, speaking of memories, tell us who your favorite player of all time is for Liverpool.
It's a tough one, this, because I'd obviously grown up with Gerrard as he was coming through, and everything he's done for Liverpool. You know, it's that the 2001 treble season is while he's 21. He'd won all them trophies before he turned 21, and then he went on to win the Champions League as a captain of Liverpool Football Club, being from the city. You know, being one of the best players that I've ever seen. That's for me. You know, as mentioned before, fellow Bootle member Carragher. You know, the Scouse heartbeat of the team. I can't really say I've got favourite players. I really loved them too. Michael Owen, while I was growing up, but then he went and ruined it all by moving. And then I say Torres. Torres was a bad one as well. Whereas I was obsessed. He was like, I know we'd had Owen, but this was another level of goal scorer. He was phenomenal, Fernando Torres, and then he went and broke my heart. Yeah, I mean, best player I've probably ever seen, I'd say Suarez, because he did things with the ball that are just phenomenal. Like, really good. And there's lots of sides to Luis Suarez. Not so good. Obviously, the stuff that's happened, you know, with the biting and the other things off the pitch. But as a footballer, he's right up there. But yeah, currently, I can't stay away from my mate Mo Salah, can I? He's you know, a phenomenal goal scorer. And you know, we're really spoiled for choice as Liverpool fans, aren't we? As I've just mentioned there, Gerrard, Owen, Fowler, and I forgot about Fowler, to be fair. You know, Heskey. There's lots of really good players. I mean, I used to watch old when LFC TV first started. I used to watch all the old things and that, and you know, I'd be told Kenny Dalglish was the best I'd ever seen by lots of, you know, uncles and friends and stuff like that. And to be able to have someone like at Salah's level now, where some of the goals he scored, is like, that's ridiculous. Like all manner of dinks, chips, you know, slamming it in from 25, 30 yards like he did against Chelsea. It's just the unerring calmness of him. I'll be lucky if we ever see a better player, I think, in terms of scoring goals. I know I said Suarez is probably the best player I've ever seen, but you know, I'm spoiled for choice.
Yeah, not bad for a right winger, right?
Well, not bad for a one-season wonder as well.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that as well.
Or a Premier League washout. Yeah, not bad at all. Hey, Mike, I know we talked about that Napoli game and a couple other games that you've been to. Tell us your favorite match that you've attended.
But without question, probably Barcelona. 4-0. Yeah. Because it was a sense of duty that we were going to the game, really. 3-0 down, even though you go back and watch that game now, you know, I still don't believe we didn't score in Barcelona, because we hit the post, we had loads of chances, and 3-0 felt harsh. But it felt harsh in terms of that could be us. You know, we didn't deserve to lose, I don't think, really, that by that scoreline. I thought we deserved to at least score. I remember Gini Wijnaldum played up front in the away leg, and we were still in the game. Like, we were still in the game. I couldn't believe that we didn't score, and it felt so empty. Barcelona are coming on the back of the game where Vincent Kompany scores against Leicester to all but give Man City the title. the next day, it's sort of, as I said, you go into the game out of duty. Walking up to the ground, it was like, well, we get one and just see where we go from there.
I went to the pub out of duty too.
Yeah, out of duty, you've got to go, haven't you, just in case.
That's right.
But to be there on probably Anfield's best ever European night, you heard about Saint Etienne. I was lucky to be at Chelsea in 2007. I missed the 2005 one, but people were saying Chelsea 07 was just as good. Obviously, the longer wait and the wall of red in Chelsea 05 was massive. But, Champions League nights are something else, and you don't get much bigger than a semi-final 4-0 deficit, overturning a 3-0 deficit by winning 4-0 the next in the home leg. It was phenomenal. The noise. I mean, I could talk for hours about Liverpool in Europe. Even the Europa League, Borussia Dortmund, that 5-4 was a phenomenal game. And I walked out of Anfield that night pinching myself thinking that might never happen ever again. Even at the Europa League, it was massive. Like, it was I think where the European journey started with Jurgen Klopp, that Europa League run, and okay, we're losing in the final. But, that's where this never say die attitude that took us to that Barcelona game, where he kept saying to the players, not many people are giving us a chance, but I think we've got a chance because it's you. And, that game there, Mo Salah's out injured, Roberto Firmino's out injured, but we somehow just get them going, get them rocking. And I'll never, the noise of the Anfield that night, the Barcelona 4-0, as I said, I might have, been lucky enough to be to a lot of games, a lot of big games at Anfield, but I've never heard anything like that. Like, it was, the noise was shaking the grounds. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, I think Barca were intimidated, by the crowd, but also by Robbo.
Do you know what? I remember that because it was a bear pit, and it went like that happened about 30-40 yards in front of where we sit. The Robbo tackle on Messi, where he rubs his head, and it was just like, it was the touch paper that got lit that night. I know Origi scores the first goal, and the others don't come till much later on. But it's the second goal for me, the Gini Wijnaldum's first goal. It goes in, and you're thinking, we're only one more, and we've absolutely rolled the stone away, and we're level. And if we get that one more, that's where I knew or believed that this is happening. And once Gini makes it 3, like there's it's a ground full of 54,000 people. You go back and watch this goal now and try and find it without the commentary, but if you can still hear it anyway. The connection of his header from the cross and the net rippling. Well, there's 54,000 people, you wouldn't think you'd hear that, but from like 15, 20 metres away from where we were, it was like this just momentary pause, and the net rippled, and then it just exploded, and like, I've never known anything like it. The fourth goal was really good, and obviously everyone says, we didn't see it. We were onto it. Stephen was onto it really quickly, and once Trent takes the corner, it's you just know, if I could have sliced that and it would have gone in. It was just meant to be that night that we were going to win. But as I say, that game, I still pinch myself now thinking that I was there and probably witnessed, as I said before, one of Anfield's greatest ever nights.
Yeah, we like talking about it because we probably have talked about that game in half of the podcast that we've ever done. But, it's amazing, not just your favorite experience, but, a lot of the older people that we've had on our podcast that grew up with the late 80s team, they still say that night is the best night that they've ever witnessed at Anfield, even in some of the games that they were actually playing in. So, yeah, it definitely, there's no surprise that you picked that game because I was kind of leading you to that.
I mean, as I said, I could literally give you the top 10, but for what it represented, and for the fact of you standing on the cop after that, 24 hours, you're confident, like you were decimated because Man City had probably just gone and won the league, and it was so close, and it just wasn't going to be our season in the league that year. But to then go and do that, pick yourself up off the floor, as a team with 2 injuries as well, two of the best players in the world, one of the best players, two actually, because Firmino was phenomenal that season. Mm-hmm. It's just, it feels biased and rose-tinted glasses to say it, but you don't see other clubs doing it, and you just, other fans hate us saying that, and we sort of get laughed at for saying that, but it just felt like it was Liverpool and no one else could do that, and we were untouchable. And I knew on that night that no matter who we got in the final, no one was getting in our way this year.
Yeah, my favourite was actually the ball boy giving Messi the finger. running down the sidelines, giving him the good old finger.
Yeah, doing what we all would have done in that situation. I think it's one of them where I was upside down and sideways and all sorts, celebrating. So you didn't really get to see it until we came home, but someone got onto it in the pub after it, and the video went round and got passed round, and it was just the cheek of it. Yeah. I think it was just, it sums up Scouse that. He's the best player in the world there, but nah, we've just had your team off, and have a bit of that while I'm running off to celebrate with me mates.
Yeah, I think Robbo was the same, wasn't he? Afterwards, he goes, I can't believe I did that to one of the world's best players.
Yeah, he said he was gutted, wasn't he, Robbo, that night? But to go off half time injured. But he sort of tongue in cheek said he made a difference because he brought Gini on, and Gini scored the 2 goals. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think if I could go back and relive any game at Anfield, it would be that one. I think that's why I picked it, because it was just like, that season was full of them. You could absolutely full of them. The Origi derby, last minute winner. That's just everyone went upside down celebrating that one, and you didn't think, the last minute winners that we'd had, and the grit, and the 97 points is just like phenomenal season. We had a good season that season. I would relive any day, but yeah, that one for me is up there, and I wouldn't do anything different. I'd do it all again, and I'd savour it really.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, you have to. But like, how your feelings? Because after 30-year wait, what a wait it was. But I mean, to celebrate in your own house, not with your mates, at the ground or down the pub, and then obviously you're not being able to get a parade is another sad thing. And unless somehow we win the Champions League, then hopefully we can have a parade. But being realistic at the moment, no parade on the horizon. It's a massive downer.
I think, yeah, you're right. I mean, I agree with you that probably shouldn't be, is not probably the right word I'm looking for. It would just feel wrong to have a parade. If we win the Champions League, I think you're spot on. We can then parade and maybe take the trophy round with us as well. As an actual, we're parading that we've won this season. But the players deserve it, and it's a massive shame that we're not going to get to have the parade and the release that was there. Fortunately, at the time, we could bubble really in this country at the time in the June, July, where we lifted the trophy, and the night we won it, I got to watch it with Stephen, because he's in my bubble. I watched us win the league with the person I was going to always watch us win the league with, to be honest. So yeah, look, it would have been anything to be able to go into the next game at Anfield. I'd give anything to do that, and I've made me peace with it, because as I said, I got to celebrate with my cousin's day on the night. The fact that you could still sort. I mean, I managed to have a good night the night we lifted the league versus Chelsea. That was a as good a night as it could have been in circumstances, because we could still go out into pubs and stuff like that, with sixes and what have you. All distanced, obviously, but I mean, it was sort of out of the mother of necessity, really, that we had to do it, because of the pandemic is much bigger than us all and any circumstance. But yeah, being able to celebrate was still massive, and I still got as much enjoyment out of it as I could. I maximised my enjoyment. So yeah, it would have been miles better, obviously, being in the grounds, not having to distance and being able to have the nights out and stuff like that, and the parade. But a part of me really thinks that it will happen again for me. And I know there was people in 1990 saying that. But I this squad, this manager, these players, we will be there again at some point, I think, before Klopp leaves.
Yeah, I'll definitely think so. And I think if things are going to progress a little bit, they're talking about letting about 10,000 people back in the stadium for the last match of the season, and safety, hopefully, but like just for those fans, to give these players and Klopp like what they deserve, which is a massive round of applause. No matter what happens this season, with the results not going so well, they still deserve, to be sung at, to be clapped, all the above, the adulation, because for the last 3 seasons, they've put their heart and soul, into this, as well as the fans, and they deserve it. So I really do hope at least some fans can come back for the last game of the season.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the first time they got back, there was only 2,000, wasn't there? Wolves, Tottenham, and West Brom. So there's 6,000 people who've got to go and clap them. And you know what? As small as that is, that's a representation of what we'd all be doing. 54,000 or 100,000. In the stadium, if we had a stadium big enough, we'd all be there, wouldn't we, if we could? So I mean, it would be lovely for them. I mean, they've had it in the smallest possible way a little bit this season, which is nice. And I know quite a lot of people who got to go to the Wolves game. And I was really obviously gutted that I couldn't go, but happy for them. And more so the players and Klopp, really, that he could hear what we've all been wanting them to hear at some stage of the season. And look, it would have been far better to be in first game of the season, no pandemic, all this. But yeah, given the chance, I would go. Hopefully, safety being there, obviously, and it being safe enough for us to go. I'd love to be there to clap them off and say, look, the season wasn't what we expected, wasn't what we hoped, but we'll never forget last season. And I think they'll get that from ultimately they'll get that from the fan base, because it was a 30-year wait, and it was special, and it will always be special, really, because it was the first one for so many years, wasn't it? And hopefully the first of many. But yeah, I think the players, have probably missed out, which will burn. They have missed out on the parade, and they missed out on the adulation times 1,000. It would have been incredible scenes. Mm-hmm. But as I say, they managed to sneak a little bit of that a couple of occasions this year. If we do get back on the ground one more time, it's not just that for me this season. It's all the other things around where I've missed going. Obviously, we had the devastating news of Alisson Becker losing his father. Jurgen Klopp losing his mother. You want to be in the stadium and you want to sing and be a part, and let them know that we're there for them. They've missed that this season, really, which has been another kick, really, because again, we sort of get sneered at, really, for saying it's like a family, but there's no place I wanted to be more than Anfield on the bad occasions this season, and with the bad news that we've had for some of our players and stuff like that. You want to be there and come together and show support, and what they've given us is something that every Liverpool team has tried to do since 1991.
Yeah, I
and you know they're the ones that done it.
That's the thing, Mike. You know, yeah, I know it's a level playing field for other teams with no fans, but Liverpool really connects with their fans. So I think it's been a massive loss. You know, not only can we not, you know, kind of mourn with Alisson and Klopp as well, but, you know, we haven't been able to really, you know, chant about Clemens, Houllier, now Ian St. John, you know, which I know we would in a regular match. So it's you know, it's all come into play, and it's just sad to see that. But, you know, again, hopefully last match of the season, whoever those 10,000 are, or even 2,000, you're going to hear them like sing all these players' names, you know, and I can't wait, you know, because obviously for us it'll be on the telly, so we'll get to hear it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, just a small sample we've had this year. Even the Wolves game was just a lovely experience, wasn't it? To listen to actual voices reacting to goals and, you know, singing songs, play songs, and getting behind the team. To be honest, I don't know if you've got the option to turn the fake crowd noise off over in America, but we can at the minute, and I've been doing that, and it's just a hollow version of football at the minute. It's soulless, really, because the fans, you know, not just Liverpool fans, but from what we're saying, majority, and it's not just us, by the way, because, you know, the players say it, the managers say it. Every opposition player used to sort of think, oh, Anfield wasn't such a thing, but then it happened to them. So you know, we're a massive part of the club, and yeah, look, the pitch hasn't been fantastic this season, but, you know, being there to let them know that we were still there for them would have been massive. Not saying it would have improved results tenfold, but, you know, to have been there and to let them know that you're with them, and you know, we will do again at some point, which will be, you know, I'm really looking forward to getting back to my first game and do all the above, you know, with your friends and with the full stadium. You know, we are a different prospect to, you know, to go to many other teams. That's no disrespect to other teams' fans or anything like that, but, you know, we've literal proof of it over the years, and I just can't wait for it to be back to normal.
You know, Mike, we appreciate you coming on to our show today. It's always fun to talk about Liverpool, obviously, but also to speak to somebody that's there in Liverpool, kind of giving us the current vibe of the city and also the team. So really appreciate your time. How can we help promote your show? Where can people find you, and what's the name of your show?
Yeah, just I'm a contributor for the Anfield Wrap, so
okay,
you know, I'm on there, you know, when I'm invited, and I host my own show, which is called In the Dugout, which is where I get to speak to coaches.
Okay.
I used to be a coach, funnily enough, years ago. That's another thing that many people knew about me, but yeah, I used to be really into football, doing my coaching and stuff like that, so I get to sit down and speak to coaches and managers. I've been lucky enough to speak to quite a few. Paul Cook, the old Wigan manager, John Coleman, Accrington Stanley. It's been a ride, like, and I've enjoyed doing what I do at the minute. And yeah, I'm on Twitter as well, sharing my views and thinking that we need to get Bruce Grobbelaar back into kissing the goalposts to get this current run of form off.
Yeah, I actually just messaged him yesterday and I'm waiting for a reply. Yeah, he needs to do something.
Yeah.
What's your Twitter handle?
At Mike Kearney 1 is mine. That's mine. That's where I'm at. You'll see me and my cousin as the pinned tweet with Mo Salah and me holding the Premier League trophy. Nice. As my picture. But yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's where I'll retweet me stuff about when I do my shows and that. But yeah. Thanks for having us on. And it's been good having a chat and going down memory lane. Well, where it all started and stuff.
Yeah. Well, hopefully when we come to town, we'll be able to meet up for a pint over there.
Sounds good to me, mate. Absolutely look forward to that.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, hoping August I can go back home. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, get back in August for the first game of the season, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have a lot of pints with a lot of mates.
Yeah, sounds good, mate.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Mike. I really appreciate you coming on. And if anyone wants to check him out, go to the Anfield Wrap and look Mike up. Or if you just want to have a chat with him on Twitter, look him up, and I'm sure he'll have a nice chat with you about Liverpool.
All right. Appreciate you, Mike.
Thanks very much, mate. Thanks, mate.
Take care, Mike.
All right, take care, boys.
Yeah, cheers.